Good morning. Welcome to your June 2nd daily situational briefing with information and news you can use as we take a look at the daily hazard and risks associated to First Nations, Metis and Inuit communities. As always, you can get a copy of our briefing on our app at app.hazardscape.com. It's under our daily sit rep report. It's for Métis, First Nation, Inuit communities. We focus on gathering data and information and news from local community sources, CBC, Indigenous, APTN, wherever we can track it down, provincial and territorial and federal government sources. We provide an opening summary with sections around active emergencies and evacuations, wildfire situations. We've got every territory, weather and environmental hazards, infrastructure, policy and funding news, Arctic updates, community safety news, preparedness with all of our sources. So if you would like a copy of this, you can go to the app right now and get a Word copy yourself to download. There's no cost. There is no credit card required. You can head over there right now and get all of the information that we're about to brief today. We're going to start off with some of the hot topics. So Red Earth Cree Nation, Shoal Lake Cree Nation, they remain displaced due to the Kayford wildfire, with approximately 1,200 from Red Earth and 258 from Shoal Lake, now in Saskatoon, Regina, Prince Albert, and Moose Jaw. The lobstick fire near Duck Lake, Saskatchewan is growing and growing. It's almost at 19,000 hectares and remains out of control, with Beardies and Okamasas Cree Nation within 20 kilometers of their threat zone. So that hasn't changed significantly. Unfortunately, one person did pass away and another is seriously injured after a shooting near the health clinic in Pelican Narrows as part of the lockdown and public safety alert that they put out, but the suspect has been arrested. And we continue to see the rainfall in eastern BC and much of Alberta, while portions of Saskatchewan and Manitoba are dealing with high heat and poor air quality. So we're going to go over all of that this morning. And then this one, we're tracking. The Permanent Peoples Tribunal issued an interim ruling finding that Canada's acts constitute genocide against Indigenous peoples, with the pattern of state action and omission revealing a continuing genocide. And as always, we continue to track the long-term drinking water advisories as a critical situation. So we'll jump right into the flood situation right now. There hasn't been any alerts, or there are some flood watches around the Rockies, but there hasn't been anything that has gotten into that extreme sort of water flow at the moment. So that either means that the snow melt is not happening as quickly because of the cooler temperatures, or the tributaries and the creeks and rivers are handling everything at this point. But we are seeing quite a bit of high flow spikes all across southern Alberta, and as the water travels southeast. So even Medicine Hat, where you can get quite a bit of flooding on the South Saskatchewan River and down into the little creeks and tributaries, there's danger levels, and there's some watches, but it doesn't seem like anything has overtopped. Over though near Lac La Biche, they are getting to extreme rates of water off the Lac La Biche. And what's over here near Owl River? This one is the river forecast. It doesn't say what river, where that is, but let's see if we can get the name of it. I'm not sure what the name of that one is, but that's the discharge in cubic meters per second. So the discharge is going to be well into the extreme at about 60 cubic meters per second. All of the highlighted red places are areas where there is a little bit of a higher risk. Things are starting to come down, though, up in Saskatchewan. And as we move east in Ontario, there are some hot spots around here, which is kind of following all of the rain that they had last month. So this might be, they had a lot of snow here, so there might be some issues going on in St. John, but um, doesn't look like there's anything coming out. Where did my little screen go there? I gotta try and get that back. Let's see here. Flood data, where did you go? I might have to read. Why? I don't know how that went. Let's see. Coverage map. Yes. All right. Well, anyway, that's okay. We're not focused. The Mackenzie River up here is a little bit high as well. There it is, but it doesn't seem to be in the danger zone. So we're there. The risk is probably medium at this point, but even with the ice breakup, there doesn't seem to be much going on. So we're going to flip over to the weather fire danger. As you can see, it has shifted quite a bit, actually, surprisingly, in Alberta, given the precipitation. They must not they don't have as much rain up in that kind of Grand Prairie, Peace River part of the province. They looks like they're getting some, are they getting some heat? Yeah, it is staying quite warm. Let's look at what today. Yeah, they are getting some nice weather up in the Grand Prairie, Peace River areas. High level, Little Red River, Cree Nation, kind of sticking in the 20s, while you see that the jet stream is kind of cut off the warm weather that's going on in Manitoba and Ontario and Saskatchewan. And we continue to have that rain and cooler temperatures through Fort Mac, Edmonton, Calgary, and Lethbridge. So kind of a, you know, then you even got up here and like, look at that, in Northwest Territories, they're up into the mid 20s. So just kind of some wacky weather that's hitting the prairies right now, with that system that's moving off the Arctic and kind of down through there. I'm gonna see if I can pull up, maybe, let me see what we can find here. I don't have anything that kind of isolates the jet stream, I don't think. God, I'll pull up air quality in a little bit, but I think it's mostly the wind that's really kind of circulating there in the south. You can kind of see how it's just driving from the north and coming up when it hits that warm air in the south and driving back up into Saskatchewan. So very interesting weather patterns going on, which is leading to this, fire risk that seems to be kind of ebbing and flowing back and forth. And as the weather kind of cools and the precipitation moves east a little bit, you'll see Ontario, BC, maybe like right now you see Quebec and even Northwest Territories. They've got a little bit of higher fire danger just because they're not getting that precipitation and cool air that Alberta is getting with that part of Saskatchewan and or Northwest Territory. So very interesting weather pattern that's kind of been floating around the prairies the last couple of days and causing all of that rain. But even I've got to do some more research into why the flooding is not worse, given that the storm systems are hanging right over the Rockies, and usually with the snow melt and the precipitation, it just could be that it's too cold and it's not actually raining in the mountains. It's probably snowing a little bit more. We could probably check this map and see what it is. Yeah, like if you look at Nordegg, you're getting into kind of that, like they are in the -2 to -5. So they're not getting the precipitation in water. It's staying in snow. Whoops. So let's just see if we can see down here. By this afternoon, they are going to get some freezing rain at the higher elevations, right through these Rockies, but it does indicate this light blue is classified as rain. And if that kind of collects through the mountains, as we all know, when that rain gets that surface area and it funnels through little tributaries and creeks, that's what causes the flooding. So it'll be very interesting to kind of see over the next couple days with all that precipitation. And it looks like let's go to the forecast by Thursday. You can see we're going to be in the 20s, a little bit warmer in the mountains. We'll see what that produces in terms of increased flood risk. But even up in the north, it's going to start to get a little bit warmer. That heat that's been traveling east since last week is going to finally reach Atlantic Canada. It's forecasted by Thursday. So that's all going to impact the fire weather index as that moves to, cross the prairies over to Ontario, Quebec, and Atlantic Canada. So they're going to be dipping into a bit of a higher fire risk as we round out towards the weekend. And I would imagine BC, Northwest Territories, they're going to continue that trend of staying dry and that fire risk increasing. Where we're seeing the blue, the low fire weather index right now, that's not going to take long to go away for Alberta, Saskatchewan, and in the north. I would suspect that if we do get some increased temperatures, let's go all the way as far as we can go. Let's go Sunday afternoon. If we are sticking in and around that 17, 20, the fire weather index will probably pop up to a 6 to 15, maybe even a 16 in a week. So not expecting the rain to do much. I'm going to check the drought monitor. We still don't have the drought monitor from May. We're still looking at what had happened through March, but I think we get a bit of a forecast here on windy.com, which you can kind of see where it's really, really dry. And this is as of today. So I think if we get into soil moisture, you can see here in Alberta where that rain has been. The soil moisture is high, but it's not gonna stick along very long. Or stick around very long. It's probably, let's see, 0. Yeah, it's not even that saturated to a very deep level. It's very surface saturated. So that's what's causing the drought. And the forecasts, we'll see kind of going into Sunday, Monday. We can go as far as Wednesday next week. You're going to see how over in Atlantic Canada, where it gets that warmer weather, we're going to be, continuing the fire risk and the fire danger over there. So kind of interesting. If we go, let's look through to Sunday. You can see already the forecast for fire danger, even with that rain by Monday. Look at Atlantic Canada, Quebec, parts of Ontario, Labrador. It's that, and the fuel loads over there too are quite high. There's basically no fuel moisture. You can see, like, it's just such a dry, dire strait right now. It's not even not even funny, because with El Nino coming in, I'll show you El Nino in a second. This is the air quality at current. So you can see coming into like Lake Winnipeg, it is a little bit moderate to getting to unhealthy. As you can see, some of that fire smoke, especially up here around Great Slave Lake, not super great. But for the most part, with the fires, and I'll show you where the fires are right now. You can see where those new startups have happened. There's some larger ones here that started overnight in Saskatchewan. And these areas here are pretty much have been untouched by the precipitation that they're getting through Alberta. Like, that's kind of really Saskatoon. That's kind of really where the border is with the precipitation, and that's where they've had some heat. And this is the one here that's out of control, the Cayford fire, and this is the Lobstick. So these are the two fires of concern for Saskatchewan that have caused the evacuations for Red Earth Creek and Shoal Lake. And again, if you want these this briefing, you can go over to app.hazardscape.com and you can get a copy of it. You can download the Word copy and you can log onto the app every morning and it's there for you. It's Indigenous focused and it complements the Indigenous Emergency Management Coordinator certificate training that we have posted. You can get your certificate for an emergency management coordinator role on our app right now. And it's at no cost. And the reason it's at no cost, because I have to, we don't take government money, we don't take federal funding. So we are lucky to have some sponsorship through First Nations owned All About Abatement. They do abatement of hazardous materials on and off reserve, Kyle and his team. I've got a podcast coming out where we do a site tour of their facility and I show you the site, and it's quite a unique site. If you've been to Edmonton, you'd never think that it was in the city. And they do a lot of incineration, picking through materials. We go through all the equipment they use on and off reserve to get vermiculite and asbestos out of attics. And we talk a little bit about their wildfire contamination program, their mold program, and their lead program. So housing managers, public works managers, even on reserve emergency management coordinators. If you need a contact and you want to talk to an environmental hygienist and experts about making sure that post-emergency or post-disaster, you're not spreading mold, asbestos, dealing with lead, give Kyle and his team a call at All About Abatement. And we're also able to deliver our training and certificate program with all of our information because of sponsorship with Premier Fire and Flood as well. They are a Canadian-based, Alberta-owned company. They do a lot of work on reserve, especially schools, facilities, band offices, a lot of restoration from fire and flood and smoke. They also do vandalism restoration. They remove graffiti, things like that. And they can do quite a bit because they've got a 50-foot trailer staged right now full of dehumidifiers, fans, other equipment that's needed for flooding and water loss. So thank you to Premier Fire and Flood for sponsoring our Emergency Management Coordinator certificate and our daily situation reports, along with Kyle at All About Abatement, which is First Nations owned. So thank you to them. And you can head over to our app right now and you can get all the links that I'm running through our resource library. You can grab everything that we've got there and you can start your Emergency Management Coordinator certificate right now. And once you finish that module, on your profile, you have your certificate page where you can get a digital badge to show the course you went through, and you can also download a paper copy to accompany your resume or hand in to your employer. So you can head over there right now and get that through those sponsorships for this summer. So we really appreciate All About Abatement and Premier Fire and Flood. But moving on to the fire danger, fire weather index. So we'll be here doing our daily briefings. We're also supporting some communities with their emergency management assistance program claims. So if your community needs help with documentation, financial assistance, documentation policy, strategic policy with Indigenous Services Canada, we do a lot of work with First Nations on that and help them maximize the grant that they're getting from EMAP. And it's always nice to have an extra set of hands doing that paperwork, especially when you've got people that know the policy and can find all the loopholes. So this is our map of Canada. I'll put our Indigenous communities layer on here, which is really just a display of all the people that have joined us in our lives in our lives and life and live, where they're from. But we're looking at some special weather statements right now. We continue to see down in southern Alberta the special weather statement, moderate rain, 40 to 80 millimeters. Here through central Alberta, again, another 40 to 120. And then the heat warning that's going on across Saskatchewan and Manitoba, highs around 30 before that cold front ushers in. And it looks like we might have some frost. Yeah, frost advisories down through southern Ontario. But really, that's about it. And if you're seeing this map for the first time, or if you have any questions or want me to zoom in on anything, please let me know. The colors all up at the top are Inuit lands, and then we've got the Dene, Saulteaux. We've got some other Inuit lands identified up here. Gwich'in territories, and then all of the red are Indian band reserves for First Nations. So we map out all of the people that join us and watch our lives. These are all from previous ones. So if you want us to catalog your community and put a marker on your community, please let us know in the comments, and I'll be sure to add you when we're done. And if you don't catch our lives, we do record them all, and they are on our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel. So you can go back and check previous ones and get updates through Hazardscape on YouTube and Facebook and Spotify as well. And our TikTok channel has quite a bit of our training content too. So yeah, this is kind of what we're looking like for the week. I still think I was going to show you El Nino, so I don't want to forget that. If we pull back on the map here, you can see El Nino across the equator is kind of just sitting there, and it's been slowly moving north over the last month. And you're going to see that warm Pacific air kind of once we get out of this weather pattern that we're in, that warm Pacific air is kind of come up on Western Canada, bump into the jet stream that's expected through here. It's going to kind of cut Saskatchewan and Manitoba and Ontario in half. And we're going to see the hot weather in, West Saskatchewan, Alberta, BC, Northwest Territories for much of the summer. There is an expectation that parts of Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, Atlantic Canada will see more normal, cooler temperatures as El Nino settles in. But I think it's going to be much of Western Canada that is impacted as that warm Pacific air drives north with El Nino. And that's supposed to hang around for at least the next year or more, maybe 16 months. 2027 is shaping up to be a little bit warmer. So we'll see how that turns out throughout the forecasts. What else have we got up here that I haven't gone over? I don't think there's too much more. Here's some other new fire starts that you're going to see in Ontario, which kind of line up with how dry it is and extreme. So yeah, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments. Let us know what you'd like to see on these in the future. And if you do log in to take our training, we have a hazard pay program where you can earn tokens, learning credits, or hazard pay for your community, which actually reduces the subscription cost for the paid portion of our site, which is primarily around the assessment hub and the planning hub. So if you want to do on reserve fire service assessments, emergency management program assessments, business continuity, community vulnerability risk assessments, you can do those for your community. They feed into your plans and they feed into the grant writer. And if you submit ideas through our idea board, you can earn hazard pay and learning credits where you get paid for your contributions to improving our training. So this is what essentially the online training looks like. This is what allows you to get your emergency management coordinator certificate. It's a transferable skill relevant to housing managers, public works, any nation staff, even finance, human resources, child and family services. We have people taking the course, especially around the business continuity piece, the planning piece, health, education, all departments across Indigenous communities. Emergency management is a transferable skill. Even volunteers, if you have emergency management volunteers, welcome center evacuation volunteers that do registration, it's all applicable and it's all transferable to any job. So you can get your certificate once you finish the course, either in a downloadable PDF or, like I said, in a digital badge that you can share through a link on your LinkedIn with your friends, family, and employers. So yeah, that's where we sit for today. If you're just joining us and you missed part of this live, the recording will be on our YouTube and our Facebook. You can head over there right now and check it out. You can also follow us along on TikTok and Spotify, Apple, and Amazon podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And just as a reminder, things that we'll continue to be watching out for is, just this permanent People's Tribunal, the long-term drinking water advisories, of course, and then everything that's going on with Red Earth Cree Nation and Shoal Lake as they deal with their evacuations from those fires. Stay tuned this week for our podcast with All About Abatement. I did a site tour with Kyle at his facility. You can watch that coming up. Probably going to drop on Thursday once I finish a little bit more editing. Head over to our YouTube channel, subscribe for that. And thank you to All About Abatement for sponsoring our daily lives and our training. And one last time as well to Premier Fire and Flood for their sponsorship for our training and daily situation reports. We will be back tomorrow. If you have any questions or want to inquire about our services, you can contact us at support@hazardscape.com or head over to app.hazardscape.com. Sign up. There's no cost, no credit card required, and you can contact us through there. I'll be back tomorrow morning for the next daily situation brief. And as always, know your hazardscape and stay prepared. We'll see you tomorrow.